So that's a blessing. So we thank God for that. So let's go to the throne of grace together. Everlasting, eternal God, our Father, we come again in your Son, Christ Jesus' name. And, oh God, as we come this afternoon, we just come truly giving you thanks and giving you praise for permitting us just to be able to come and to be another one of your Bible classes this evening. We pray, oh God, you might bless our pastor, Phyllis, that you might give him the understanding and knowledge that he might feed us, that we might do the things that are according to your will, that we might gird up our minds and think the thoughts that you would have us to think. For, Father, we realize, Father, things are happening today that we don't understand, but if our mind is staying on you, we believe it, and we know that you can change all things. So we ask this all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Good morning, good afternoon to each of you, my father's children, and thank you, Nicole, for the, looks like the Charlie Brown the Thanksgiving table, the thing that we had up there. Oh, yeah, that reminds me of Charlie Brown. You can leave that up there. That's nice. Good to see all of you. We, chapter 4, On Purpose Thinking, part 3. Remember, we looked at, or began looking at the 3 keys to great thinking, okay? We looked at the first key last week, which was set your mind, keep it there. Okay, all right. And Deacon Andrew talked about today girding up your mind, and we're going to be looking at that, okay? If you got the book, obviously, we're on page 62. But if not, obviously, I'll put it on the paper there. So we're going to talk about gird up our minds. It reads, 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 13 through 16, from the Message translation. It reads like this. It's on the screen, and it's also on the on your paper there. Who's got the mic? Andrew, read it for me if you will.
So roll up your sleeves. Put your mind in gear.
Okay, put your mind in gear. Now, you know what happens when whether it's a bike or it's a car or lawnmower, whatever it is that has gears, if it falls out of gear or if it shifts. Put your mind in gear. Now, you know what happens when whether it's a bike or it's a car or lawnmower, whatever it is. Oh, YouTube. No, I wasn't doing that. I was wondering where that. You didn't hear that? No, I'm talking to him. He looking at us like that was normal. I'm like, what? Yeah, you got some things on your mind. We need to talk afterward. Go ahead, Andrew.
Be totally ready to receive the gift.
So put your mind in gear. So you know if something is out of gear, it's not going to move. Or it's not going to move the way it's supposed to move if it's in gear. Okay? So you know that means put your mind in gear. It means get your stuff right. Go ahead, Andrew.
To receive the gift that's coming when Jesus arrives. Don't lazily slip back into those old grooves of evil, doing just what you feel like doing. You don't need to know any better than you do now. As obedient children, let yourselves be pulled into a way of life shaped by God's life, a life energetic and blazing with holiness. God said, I am holy, you be holy.
Thank you. And again, that's from the Message translation. If you have the King James, obviously it reads a little bit different there. You and I aren't accustomed to hearing the phrase gird up today. We don't like gird up. You don't know. And we know how it is with us. And you know, I've got a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old, and your kids or grandkids or whatever. Language change now every, 3 weeks? I mean, they come home and say, what is that? And then they look at you funny, you know. And then when Nicole and I talking, we say stuff and they look at us funny. Like there's a language difference. You know what I mean, that they say and the different things on there. So we don't use words like that today, or phrases, if you will, gird up. But in biblical times, both men and women, they wore long skirt-like outfits. If they tried to run in those clothes, there was a good chance that they could get tangled up in the long fabrics and stumble. When they needed to move quickly, they gathered the material of their garments and pulled it up so they could walk or run freely. They would gird up their clothing. So gird up, because if it wasn't girded up, you could get in trouble, especially if there was danger. I shared with you all, this would happen years ago when there was a shooting in the parking lot of Bethel Baptist Church in Albion. And they said the guy, it was a Battle Creek, Albion. I don't know what the beef was or what the pork was or fish was. I don't know what they call it, beef, whatever they was doing. The police said literally that they drove up and there were shootings, and one of the guys jumped out of the car and he took off running. And the shooter, when they saw him running, then they went after this, whoever the other guy was. But they said when they turned around, this gentleman that ran that way fell. And they ran back over there, and obviously he was on the ground, and they shot him, they killed him. And they said the reason he fell is because his, you know how they pants down anyway, he literally tripped over his pants. So literally sagging killed him, got him killed. I'm serious. Because they had started going this way, but the officer said when he fell, they ran back over him, and he was running doing this. And he fell, and they just went back and unloaded on him right in the parking lot. Now think about that. It shouldn't have been shooting for whatever happened, but if his pants was up, he'd be alive. Well, he may be dead now from them retaliating. He wouldn't have died then. It's the point I'm making. So if we don't gird up, obviously nobody's shooting at us or doing those things, but we could so stumble the same way and get injured in another way, not death or shot or nothing like that, but we can get injured or injure ourselves in another way because we haven't taken the time to gird up. The mind is what I'm talking about, okay? But I'm not talking about, it can be physical injuries, but not due to fighting or getting beat up or nothing like that. But there can be some other things because my mind wasn't girded up. I could have made some decisions that made me fall and stumble. So when you're talking about violence or nothing like that. So when the Bible tells us to gird up our loins of our minds, I believe it means to get our minds off everything that will cause us to stumble as we run the race God has set before us. Let's look at Hebrews 12, 1 and 2.
Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with such great a cloud of witness, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which doth so easily beset us. Okay, stop right there. We'll hold that for a minute. Let us lay aside every weight, okay? Now, you see the Olympics, the runners, and especially when Michael Johnson set that record, he had those gold shoes that weighed, I don't think they weighed as much as a feather, but the people usually put on the lightest equipment that they have because in a race that lasts either 100 yards, 220 or 400, you're talking about a millisecond can be the difference from a gold and a silver. So anything that would weigh them down, they usually take off. But then they had them big gold chains on, like somebody told me to take that off too. But they try to make themselves as light as possible because they don't want to be weighted down. Okay, the swimmers, if you notice, the men and the women, they wear those hats or them caps or whatever because the hair slows you down. The water get in, so anything they just want to go like this. That's why they again put them caps and stuff on so the water don't hold them down. Because again, the 0.3 from 0.5 can be a silver medal, gold medal, or no medal. So anything that they feel that will weigh them down, they try to take off. Because they don't want that stuff to hinder them. So, Sister Petrie, what God is telling us, the stuff that could possibly hinder you, it said lay it aside. It said lay aside every weight. Once again, Devon, we asked God to take it. He said, why do you lay it? It's on you. Lay it aside. Right? Didn't God move this? He said, no, you have it on. You lay it aside. If it's too heavy, you lay it aside. Okay? He says, lay aside every weight. And then, Joyce, is particular here. He said, and the sin. The. So, Coleman, there's a specific, particular one, and everybody knows what the is for them. The for me may be different than Denisha or Delbert. Lay aside the sin which doth so easily beset us. Okay? And then let us run with patience the race that's set before us.
Okay? But I can't run weighted down. You know, it's like a person on your back running with somebody. Okay? And this is how you do it. Go ahead, Sister Williams.
Looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith.
Okay, just like that runner looks at the finish line, or that swimmer and that, or whoever, whatever they're doing, they're looking at that goal line, that finish line. Okay, that's what they look. And because if you do this, that could be and Nicole Perry ran track. You do this, and then you wonder why they ain't back there, because they're in front of you. Because you had no business. I mean, you don't run and do this. I mean, unless you're Usain Bolt, and got to, lead from here to the wall. But you don't look back because they could possibly be in front of you. Okay? So you keep looking forward to the finish line. Okay? So our finish line, obviously, is Jesus, who's the author. He also authored it in. He's the author and finisher of our faith.
Who for the joy that was set before him.
Now, he never took his eyes off the joy that was set before him. Okay? The joy that was set before him was the cross. And you say, well, wait a minute, the joy? Wait a minute, ain't no cross, ain't no joy about getting, I don't see that as joy. Who for the joy that was set before him, he endured the cross, right? Despised the same, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Okay? And every step along the way, somebody was trying to get him off focus. Even upon the cross. Satan slid up in the other guy and said, hey, man, look, man. He's mad. If you say who you say you are, man, save yourself and then save us. You notice how he slid that in. Save yourself and then save us. And then the other thief said, man, this guy done nothing wrong. He said, he's suffering for nothing. And, when you come into your kingdom, remember me. But Jesus kept his eye on that prize, and he didn't let anything deter him from obviously what he was to do there. Now, Hebrews 12, 1 through 2, we just read that. I think it may also refer to concentrating again on one thing, or on the thing at hand, rather than allowing our thoughts to wander all over the place. You okay? That's why presidents, speakers, a lot of them, they have and they prefer teleprompter, because you can see stuff. Because y'all know this current cat, if you just let him talk, it's over. I mean, he gone. I'm serious. He's and that's what he likes, but that's what gets him in trouble, because he's all over the place. He don't have a coherent thought. He's just and would to God that with the recent elections and different things, the Democrat, I pray that they don't follow him down them rabbit holes, because some things ain't even worth him chasing. Just like, okay, you keep your focus on, because if we get off, that's what he wants us to do. So you keep focus, keep straight ahead. Keep your thoughts and focus on one thing, and don't let your mind be all over the place. Okay? God has a plan, not only a plan, a good plan, Andrew, for each of us. This is what Jeremiah 29:11 says in the Message. God says, I know what I'm doing. From the Message translation. Because a lot of us, even though we saved, we trust him and we believe him and we have faith and all that, but some stuff will get tight, or some stuff that don't look right, and we won't voice it. We'll be like, I wonder. we won't say it, Sister McKinley, because, we got, but we'd be like, oh, okay. So God said, look, I know what I'm doing. I have it all planned out, Nicole. All planned out. Wanzer. Got it all planned out. Deborah, he got it all planned out. He said, I know what I'm doing. I got it planned out. He said, plans to take care of you, not abandon you. Plans to give you the future that you hope for. Yeah, plans to give you the future that you hope for. Now, his plan may be different than yours. Even though you got the same future plan, he's got a different way of getting you there. Because we don't see it right away, and it ain't big and shiny, and we'd be like, oh, that ain't no plan. He said, just remember, go back. Remember, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. It reminds me, Shay, of parents. All of us. 13, 10, 11, 12, 15, 16, 18, 19. We knew everything. Everything. And our parents would tell us stuff, and we wouldn't say it. We thought they was old and fogey and didn't understand. They wasn't cool. They wasn't all that stuff, and they knew exactly what they were doing. And we thought they was from Mars. And you get old and you have kids, you start doing the exact thing that you said you didn't like or hated. Like, oh, I wonder where you saw that. From your parents that you thought didn't know what they were doing. They do know what they're doing. It was us as the kids who didn't know what they was doing. And thank God back then, lovingly, we had parents that didn't care if you didn't understand. They still did the right thing. Now you want to negotiate with them and set them. Fine, talk to you. That's fine. Some things you do because I told you. I ain't going to, every time we have a discussion, I ain't going to explain myself. Do it. Now, I'm not saying, well, I'll never talk to you, but Kim, I ain't finna sit here like you my equal. Like you 10 and we got to sit down here and go over something. Man, you must be crazy. I mean, I ain't going to mistreat you or beat you, and if it's a question I can. But some things, Andrew, you just, because they're not going to understand anyway. You 10. Well, why we got to do this, Daddy? If you was not 10, you wouldn't ask me that. It's just point out, man. Just keep growing. But they didn't, man. Their parents didn't care because they did what was right, and they did what, they wasn't trying to be our friends. They wasn't trying to be popular. They wasn't trying to go to the club with us. They knew that one day when you leave this house, I want you to be a responsible, a person to the community. I'm raising you up to get out of here. Amen. I don't want you 50 in the basement. Depending on you know what I mean? Depending on everybody? Oh, no. And as you get older, man, you look back, you thank God, you go, whoo, thank God for patience of my parents, because, whoo. Yeah. They had a plan for you. And it worked. You know how I know it worked? Because you still here. That's how I know it worked. Yeah. Because if we'd have followed our plan, some of us would have been in jail. Some of us would have been in prison, and some would have been dead. If we literally got to do whatever our plan, and our parents let us, that's the worst thing in the world that they could have done for it. But they didn't. And you here, and you successful in what you're doing. You know why? Because they had a plan for you. You didn't understand it. They had a plan for you. You can't go there. I'm mad. They won't let me go out. I want to hang out. I want to do all this. Get a call 3 in the morning, hey man, Tyrone got shot at the party. Guess where you would have been if you followed your plan at that party with Tyrone? They knew what they was doing, and they still know what they're doing. Those that know what they're doing. Some of them, I mean, no, some of them, you know what I mean. Sister Webb, some of them know what they're doing. But here's the plan. Here's the thing, Garland. Even though God got a plan for us, in order for that good plan to be realized, we must walk in the path that leads us to it. We must walk in the path. You remember, he said in Joshua, he told him, he says, listen, here's life, here's death. And then he tells him, he said, choose life. I mean, the plainest day, here's life, here's death. Why would anybody in their right mind choose death? And then he tells them, choose life. So he has a plan for us, but what we got to do is walk on the path that leads us to it. Okay? Focus and concentration are both real challenges in our world today because there's so much happening every day, every second rather. The social media, obviously, is a wonderful thing. It can be used for bad things, but it's a good thing, but it can have you all over the place. I mean, all over. Just, you know, your mind, you just go, because you don't have to, I mean, there's no time to process, because all you got to do is boom, and before it's up. And then they got the bites that get them quicker. You know, they trick us and think, well, I mean, now, you already getting something in 3 seconds. They're telling you can get it in 1. You'll be like, oh, yeah, give me that. So 2 more seconds really is going to make a difference? And you can't... You see what I'm saying? So everything is like bam, 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 bam. So now there's no process because I don't have to process because everything is right there. I don't have to think, and that's what they want you to do. They want you to not think. They want to think for us. Okay? And that's how they get us. Focus and concentration, real challenges in the world today. We have a great deal of information coming at us all the time, And to keep our minds on what our purpose is requires great determination and even training, okay? A training of your mind, all right? Now, that's one thing that this crazy guy, he's crazy, and he knows he's crazy, and he knows, especially when you get close to him, if he just says something stupid and foolish every day, we follow it. And what we're doing is following the, I don't mean we generally, we're following the stupid stuff, and he knows the real stuff about my taxes and other. See, y'all done got your minds off that. Y'all thinking about what I said. And I'm saying as long as they keep talking about what I said, they ain't checking my record. You see what I'm saying? They ain't checking all my Saudi deals, my shady deals with my son-in-law with the Saudis, because they talking about I didn't go to the cemetery. And then the next day, when Mueller get close, he'll say something else. And the media will go straight to what he said. And he going, they still ain't checking. But think about it. When he started off, everybody wanted to see his taxes. And now it's everything else. Because it's just a sideshow. If I keep your mind over here, you will get off over here. And it's over here is what's going to kill you. Because whether he could go to the Arlington Cemetery or not is not a crime. If you cheated on your taxes, that's a crime. But we ain't talking about the crime, we're talking about the political theater. And then in another year, what is it, year and a half, 2 years, he'd be gone anyway. So all he want to do is just keep us focused somewhere else, when all the real stuff is what he don't want you to see. And that's why I said, don't go down these little bunny trails with him, chasing all that crazy stuff that don't matter anyway. It's crazy. Okay, but focus. We need to focus. Y'all know that. We need to focus. Now, you may get up on Monday, and you may fully intend to start your day by spending time with God in prayer and Bible study. That's your desire. It's your real desire. You mean to do that. You set the time aside. You did all that. You did everything and all that stuff. Then you intend to get 3 specific projects finished that day. Now, Joyce Meyer said 3. I'm going to say 1. Because if you can, 1. If you can get 1 done, now 3 is good. I'm not saying don't limit, but if you can get 1 done a day, you've actually done something. Because you're going to have to do all 3 of the 3 and going to have to go redo them because you didn't put your focus on them when you did it. Okay? So if you can do 3, hey, more power to you. You need to go to the grocery store. That's 1. You need to get some maintenance done on your car, 2, and you need to finish cleaning out a closet that you started working on last week. And if y'all know anything about a closet, you start pulling out stuff you or your wife didn't buy. Like, where did this come from? You know what I mean? You're like, who put this in here? Girl, where'd that come from? You know, we got that for our wedding 20 years ago. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the store you got it from closed. You can't get no money back for it, and you can't give it back to the person that gave it to you, unless they didn't forgot. But that's what you intend to do. Your intention is good, but if you don't focus on those projects, you will surely be pulled away by other things, and as I say all the time, other people. Because your goal, Coleman, is to go here, and then your brother calls and say, man, I need you to run me to Rite Aid. And then you feel guilty because it's your relative, like, okay, so you go get him, taking the Rite Aid, you're on the way home, oh man, I just need to run in here for a minute. And you're like, okay. So he running there, then he get out, man, you know, save a lot right there, I need some meat. Your 3 things or 1 thing is still unfinished. Now you running him over, all over town, with your oil, your gas, your tires, your brakes, and your patience and time. When he finally makes it home, he don't care that your 3 things is left undone. And he sure ain't going to ask you, I'll come over there and help you do it. So now you go to bed thinking that you failed or you didn't do what you set out to do, and it was because somebody took your mind off of what you were set out to do. Okay? Kim, I told you before, the greatest way to destroy somebody's goal is not to fight them, is to give them another one. That's the greatest way to destroy somebody's goal, is to give them another one. Not to fight them, not to resist them, give them something else. Because now they're doing that, and they're not doing what their mind was set on. Okay? You remember Paul said, "There's one thing I do, forgetting those things, focus on this." That's what you do, is you give them another goal, and it destroys the one they got. Okay? So we could have good intention, but intentions don't do a whole lot. You got to focus. Okay? So girding up our minds is another way of saying stay focused on what you need to do. 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 Okay, stay focused. Stay focused. We get off focus. Stay focused. And then they'll take your focus on that which is, I don't want to put this. Let me do it this way. A lot of people, when they voted a couple of weeks ago for the passing of the miracle, what they call it, and I still never heard of recreational meth, so I don't know why we call it recreational marijuana. They focus just on the feeling and the marijuana and the freedom, and that's what they focus on, and that's what they want us to focus on. But we know what's going. We know what's going to happen. Okay. Now, it used to be, once again, and I went to a meeting. What was it? Shay, we had a cops and clergy meeting about, when was that? About a month ago or so. Good meeting, and we're going to be meeting every quarterly. And the prosecutor was telling us that at Battle Creek, as small as Battle Creek is, there's 22 medical marijuana dispensers in Battle Creek. Now, you can drive, and if you go 40 miles an hour for 2 minutes, you'll be out of the city. It's that small. 22 medical dispensers? So what the white business from Detroit come in and do, they set them up and they go back home. But my dispenser making money is where you live. Okay? Now that you can get the marijuana, because to get medical marijuana, you need a card from the doctor. And of course, you can get a card from Dr. Vinnie Boomba, you know that. But you do need somebody needs to write you something. Okay? Now, all you need to do is be 21 and not a felon, not have a. So you can go in the store and get 10 ounces of marijuana. And you can only be caught with 2.5 on your person. Okay? Now, they're telling me I can only get 10 ounces. So I'm like, okay, ain't no problem. Devon, Andrew, Darius, Henry, come on, let's go. Boom. Now I got 50 ounces because I got it from him, and them. Now, I'm telling the folk on the street, you don't have to go in there to get it, because if you go in there, you're going to have to pay taxes. So you can get it from me. So, now watch this. If this store, if I know the only thing they sell is weed, then I know what you're coming out with. So if I'm already messed up and I want to get high and I ain't got no money, I'm going to just sit around the corner and wait for you to come out and then come up, hey, man, give me your... And that's good for the neighborhood? I guarantee you this, they're going to be closer to you than they is to Lakeview. They ain't going to be next to Mr. Kellogg's house. They ain't going to be next to Mr. Post's house. They're going to be in the neighborhood where people don't look like them. That's what the dope going to be, okay? So now everybody happy. We can agree, okay, that's fine, okay? Again, I got a wife, 3 kids, okay? It's free. I mean, it ain't free. I can smoke in the house, okay? Now I go to my work, and they say, okay, well, come here. Test that, now you're fired. You got a wife and 3 kids. So now the weed ain't that fun. You see what I'm saying? People ain't thinking about all the repercussions that, we can buy weed. Oh, okay. They taking you off, they getting you off focus. It's another way to entrap and enslave you. And they're doing tests just like they do with alcohol. Marijuana, I don't know what they're coming up with, and I ain't got to worry because I don't smoke it. But they having tests also to get you under the influence of marijuana. So they'll pull you over and they'll do your test. Okay, now you're going to lose your car because you're smoking marijuana in it. You see what I'm saying? It just raps like that. And all people are saying is, oh man, we can get high. Yeah, you can. You can also lose your job, lose your family, destroy the neighborhood. You see what I'm saying? So we have to stay focused and not just be so happy about rabbit carrots that's sitting out there in front of us. And once again, everybody getting... Now, here's the other thing. The city has to sign off on not only the medical dispensers, but they got to sign off on the having the weed in the city. Because you see it now, they told them, you can't do that here. So now the city never lets the people know about the meeting, and then before we know anything, it's passed. Because we don't, they know we ain't coming no way. So now the law is passed, and you say, wait a minute, who signed off on this? Because whoever signed off on it is getting money. And again, they don't live by us. So the people who signed the papers, they ain't worried about somebody breaking in next door to them. All the weed over there. And y'all better not come out here. You see what I'm saying? So we have to stay focused and not just get happy when they offering us something that's bad for us. And you got folks celebrating, high-fiving, talking about we can smoke weed now. Well, you've been smoking it for 15 years when the law wasn't passed. Oh, we can do it legally now. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, that stuff going to catch you. Yeah. And then they're going to roll you in here, and somebody going to call me and say, can you do the funeral for my son? Somebody shot him over a bag of weed. You understand what I'm saying? So you don't just get caught up in stuff and start clapping and rejoicing about something that's going to further destroy our neighborhood. But it's called recreational. Recreation means fun. Think about it. There's no recreational meth. There's no recreational liquor. But there's recreational weed. Yeah, okay. Yep. Again, what do we do when the 8-year-old gets $20? He sees somebody, 22-year-old, walk down the street like, hey, man, I can't go in there, but like, okay, here's a 20. You give me some, and I give you half the bag. Now, this boy's 8. And all he needs is somebody of age to go get it. You understand what I'm saying? It's crazy. But we get caught up in, ooh, that's going to bring money to the city. It's going to bring money to the, yeah, okay. Money that ain't going to go in our hands. I don't disagree with you that it ain't going to bring money here, but it ain't going to the black neighborhood. It ain't going to go to the housing. It ain't going to go to, it's going to go to them. And the funeral's going to come to us. Because if I know you got a dime bag and my mind ain't right, man, I'll just shoot you, hit you upside the head. Sick. But we got to think, and we got to stay focused and girded up, okay, on what we need to do. Uninvited guest. We should see that as an uninvited guest, but some folk want to invite it, okay? And don't think now that this was Junebug and Leroy who voted for it, because you had to be registered to vote. This lady told us, I forget, she was from one of the downtown churches, one of the pastors. She said the leading dope smokers in their church are like the white ladies like over 65. I'm serious. They just ain't standing on the corner. She told us. Said smoke weed. Yeah. And they ain't getting it in their neighborhood, she said. You don't see white women on the news getting caught with dope. You see black boys. We were coming back, what was it, Henry? We were coming back from the football game when Battle Creek beat that team. We come back, since we pull right up here, lights as bright as, look like the noonday, like when Paul got stopped on Damascus Road. Right there. No, I'm serious. He had two black men, boys, looked like they was in their 20s. They had them like this, had a big old spotlight, and they had bags of weed on they were sitting it on the hood, and they were continually getting them out of the car. Right here. I mean, just baggies, just sat on the hood. They had him and the guy, you know, outside. I'm like, I don't. And you can't say with that many bags that you were not going to distribute, because what they all in separate little baggies for? I mean, you see what I'm saying? Now, I'll have 8 bags of weed in the car. It's almost 11 o'clock, no muffler. So I'm bringing unwanted attention, and now I ask why you pulled me over. Man, you waking up everybody in the neighborhood. And by the way, let me search your car, because I smell something. And you 20, I don't know how young they were, but they going somewhere. All them baggies they had, even if it was just a piece in one, he had enough baggies to have a, you know what I mean? It just, uninvited guest. Do you experience thoughts flashing through your mind that seem to come from nowhere? If you are honest, you would have to say yes. Even in the middle of worship, you would get one of them thoughts that, I mean, you ain't thinking about that. And Sister McKinney, they're just like, zzz, boom. And that's when you thank God that people can't see what we're thinking. Because people would get up and move if they notice, like, if they knew if they had a little bubble over your head, like this is what Darius thinking. Man, Andrew didn't want to speak to you. But they do. They come from nowhere. But they do come from somewhere, and they're often designed to hinder you from reaching your goals. These thoughts are actually uninvited guests looking for a home, and it's our job to tell them that we have no room for them. Remember they told Jesus no room in the inn? There's no room in the inn for the ends of our mind. I don't need to be thinking this. I don't need to be thinking that. I don't need to be thinking this. 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 I don't need to be thinking about quitting school. I need to be thinking about staying in school. I don't need to be thinking about selling weed. I need to think about, if I'm going to sell, use them same skills to be an entrepreneur. I don't need to be thinking crime, because crime going to happen. I need to be thinking opposite. Like, okay, I can sell, but I can sell something that's either records or clothes or something that ain't going to get me, land me in jail or prison, whatever it is. I don't need to be thinking this. You know, sticking up the store. I don't need to be thinking, why am I thinking about this? So when that uninvited thought thing comes in, you need to grab that thing like, oh, no, this ain't going. Because what's my purpose? Is my purpose going to jail? No. Well, then I don't need to be thinking this. Because that's where I'm going if I do this. Or killed or something else. It ain't going to lead to nothing good. Okay? Some of that stuff don't even need to it don't even need to come in. Watch this. How would you respond if people that you barely knew showed up at your front door with their baggage telling you that they wanted to move in? Now, you don't even know them. Sheena, you don't even, well, first of all, you wouldn't go to the door. You'd be calling your daddy, Daddy, get mama something. No, you call Dre, he got the gun. Like, come, somebody knocking on my front door. You probably need to ride by here and check this thing out. The point is, you wouldn't let them in. None of us. Okay? Well, of course, you would tell them that they were not welcome, no matter how persistent they were. You would hold firm to your decision that you couldn't provide a home for them. We should take the same attitude with flashing thoughts that are in reality uninvited, troublesome guests who came knocking at the door of our mind. Because I don't have to let you in. In other words, I don't have to entertain that thought, Kim. And somebody try to make me think ill of you, Derek, or somebody like, I don't have to do that. You can't make me not like this person or do that or gossip. That's an uninvited guy. You got to go. However you say it or however you do it. For example, watch this. If you decide to take some college courses to improve your education, and when you go to register, thoughts begin to flash through your mind like, no, you know you're too old to go to college. And you should have already squared that away before you went up to the registration, right? Because once you decide you're going. So don't defeat yourself. But you get them thoughts, now you know you're too old to go to college. It's going to be too hard for you, and it's going to take up too much of your time. In fact, you didn't do good in high school. And college is much more difficult. No, serious. Them thoughts will come. They'll come to you. Stop right away and ask yourself if these thoughts are yours or if they're coming from somewhere outside of you. Are you choosing them, or are they uninvited guests that the devil has sent to you? Instead of offering them a home, gird up your mind, get yourself together, keep your mind on the prize, okay? And then think the way you want to think. Stay focused on your goal, not the fear the devil is trying to instill into you. Think like this. You know what? There will be a lot of people younger than me in my classes, but I got a good mind, and I got a destiny to fulfill, okay? And maybe I can learn from them. Maybe they can learn from me, life experiences, stuff like that. I mean, instead of going, I'm too old, I can't figure this stuff out. I'm too, no, you could help somebody. Especially if you're older and got life experiences. And some colleges even, they take, I know like Cornerstone where I went, they actually count your life experiences. They tell you to list the things you've done, and they will count some of those things toward, now you still got to do some work. You can't go in there and just go, I got life experiences, and then they, just talking about wear my gown and hat. That ain't going, you're going to have to still work. But Andrew, they actually take into account your life experiences. And if you ever went to adult education, obviously you'll be in there with different, the ages and stuff. You've been there with different people, and they can help you, and you can help them. You can help them stay on task, on target. Sometimes they'll ask you, I'm doing this now. We're in the same thing, and I've got nobody. You've got a full-time job. You're going to school, and you got 3 kids, and the kids sometimes want to know, man, how do you do this? So it's helping them with time management and other things. So it can be a good two-way thing there, instead of just counting yourself out like I can't do this, I can't be around these people and all that stuff. It can be a help for both of you. So you could say stuff like, well, there's a lot of people younger than me in my class, but I'm gonna do good, and I got a destiny to fulfill. So I'm going to get myself enrolled, and I'm going to do my very best. And that's all you can do. Do your best. If your best is A, good. Do your best, okay? Do your best. Do your best. Because if better is possible, then being good is a sin. Because better is possible. And now Darius's best may not be Alita's best. But do your best and not be trying to be in everybody else's stuff. I think we do ourselves a disservice when you got kids and you compare the kids and like, well, he getting A's. Well, he may be wired different from you. Do your best, do his best, and we'll take the best. I can't compare you to that one. My brother and myself were totally opposite. So they couldn't look at Tony and tell me, you should do what he do. Tony was a different animal. You do what you do. And by animal, I don't mean a bad thing. I'm just saying, you're different. If you got kids or brothers and sisters, you're different. You're not better than them. They're not better than you, but you're different. This stuff he may have a math mind that picks it up. I can't like that. You know what I mean? So you may get an A without thinking, and I'm trying my hardest and get a C. And I'm really trying. I'm sweating and like praying. And he over here smoking weed, playing basketball, he getting A's. So, but you can't compare people. You can't do that. Will you be the best you can be? Okay? Even if I'm the oldest person in the entire college, I'm not too old to improve myself. That's a great attitude to have. I can improve myself. And as long as you're alive and as long as we're living, there's always a possibility for us to improve ourselves and to do better. Even if you're perfect, the opportunity is there so you can be perfecter. I know that's not a word, but you know what I mean. Use your mind to help you. You may want to get out of debt, live a healthier lifestyle, improve your marriage. And again, let me go back to this thinking and gird up our minds as I look at this debt. And this stuff is not new. We've told you, we went over this stuff before. We've had financial people here. Listen, the people that make under $50,000 a year spend the most on lottery. That's on record. Yeah, the people who make less, 50,000 or less, spend more money on lottery than anybody. Yeah, but I'm saying it's a carrot. It's that thing they want us to, the casino. Yes, they got jobs. People work out there. I ain't got no problem with, hey, work, get your money, baby. I ain't got no problem with that. But after work, go home. Don't go to the slot. I mean, you go home after work. You need a job. I ain't got no jobs coming in. Good, especially when they cut 30 of them or Kellogg closed. I don't have no problem with job, but don't wander off. Get your check or get your thing, go home. $50,000 or less, play the lottery the most. Serious. Now watch this, Andrew. Thinking about the mind. Where are the check cash, quick advance, home loan, they got gas stations taking food stamp cards. Just all kind of illegal stuff. But guess where they at? Huh? They in our neighborhood, bingo. You can go into no other neighborhood, either it's black, Hispanic, or low income, whatever it is, and they got next to the cash register, they got blunt holders. You know where you at. And we keep letting them do it to us. You don't find that stuff in white neighborhoods. Blunt, you're going to ask what blunt, they get your dictionary. Like, what is it? You go right over here to these people, and they act like they mistake us for being one of the people. I went in a store, Kalamazoo, grabbed something. You need a bag of ice for the holidays. You grab something, and man, the guy in there, he's from some country. I come in, and he, what's up? All this cuss. I said, man, I can take a hello. I mean, you don't have to use slang with me. I mean, you know what I mean? All of us ain't, it just turned me off because you just saw me and read me and say, okay, I can talk to him like, no, you don't need to cuss in front of me. But they do that stuff, this getting out of debt thing. They know what to put in our neighborhood. They know how to keep us. They know how to do it. Yeah, they know how to do it. They put hair in black neighborhood and use Asians to sell it who don't know nothing about your hair. I'm serious. And we go buy it. I ain't even saying don't buy it, but buy it from somebody that look like you. Y'all know what I'm saying. And y'all know what I'm saying. Cussing you out in them languages, you don't know what they're saying. They can't talk English till you get the price, and then they can speak English. Oh, so you knew what I was saying all along. Oh, I see. But I'm going to just keep coming back and let you cuss me out in that language. I don't know whatever you're saying. Because I'm too lazy to go over here and get this same 2-liter for what it should be, 79 cents. But I'm going to pay you $2.79 because it's closest to my house. Okay. Yep. They know how to. So if you want to get out of debt, you got to stop doing stuff to get you in debt. That makes sense? Okay. Live a healthier lifestyle. Healthier lifestyle. People kill me, Andrew. Now, don't get me wrong. That organic and all that other stuff is price. It's more. But people say, man, I can't afford all that stuff. Like, wait a minute. Now, every time I see you, you got a 40 ounce every day. But you can't afford healthy food. But you can afford unhealthy beer. Y'all understand what I'm saying? I can't afford that. That's too much. Okay. All right. Improve your marriage or a variety of other things. Whatever your specific situation is, be diligent to gird up the loins of your mind and get rid of any thoughts that are standing in the way as you seek to move forward. Whatever thoughts they are. Okay? You got your goal. Everybody, you should have on your refrigerator, in your pocket, If you're married, you and your husband, y'all should have a vision, or you and your wife, for your family, a vision. Everybody else don't need to know it. They don't need to be able to explain it because it's yours. Okay? So this vision, Andrew, guides everything that we do. Okay? So here's our vision. And if we're getting ready to do something that doesn't fit in the vision, then we don't need to do it. Or else we're defeating ourselves. Okay? So that's the vision. Now, the vision, some people say, get hard because it's the holiday season. Well, why would the holiday season change your vision? I had a guy, a preacher friend of mine, a preacher. You think he know better. A preacher. He did not pay the mortgage because he wanted to get his kids Christmas presents. Now, his kids is in the 20s and 30s. I'm kidding you not. He didn't pay the mortgage. The mortgage people called, and his wife, they got an uproar, and me and my wife went over about 3-4 times he asked us would we come and talk to him, and I said, yeah, but I mean, and then I'm listening to him, and I'm like, because he mad now that she wants to take over the finances, and he's saying, ain't nothing wrong with him. I said, what did you do with the money? No, serious. Well, I bought the Christmas, and you wonder why she want to take the... I mean, it was no-brainer to me, like, dude, you ain't got a leg to stand on. I mean, you're saying you're responsible, but you just prove you're not. People calling her. We're calling y'all. Well, I just did it once. I wanted to get them something. Man, your kids got kids. Why do you feel, no, seriously, that you got to buy somebody 30 something new because it's November and it's December? Gird up your mind. Well, it's Christmas. What that mean? We got to stop it because they ain't going to stop. You keep getting people gifts. They ain't going to stop them from taking them. We have to stop and go, wait a minute. What is this day all about? Is this what this day is for? And for those holy people who talking about Jesus, they didn't give Mary, they didn't give Mary and Joseph nothing. That stuff was for Jesus. And guess what? Remember they gave him the gold? That was to finance them to get to Egypt. That wasn't no Christmas present. They needed that to go to Egypt. Remember, they were poor. You can tell by the sacrifice they brought. And the frankincense and the myrrh were indicators about his, one about his death and the other one about his humility and stuff like those gifts had meaning. They wasn't saying, oh, here, just give everybody a Christmas present. That came from us, broke people. And now you can't get out of it. Or so you say you can't. Yes, you can. You stop getting them. What are we going to do for Christmas this year? Nothing. We're going to sit down, eat, and love as a family. That's what we're going to do. I'm serious. Because now we're being driven into debt by a holiday. Yeah, and they call it, they even get y'all. It's Black Friday. That's what they call it. I didn't make it up. It's called Black Friday. It ain't White Friday. Asian is Black Friday. No, it's more than blacks out there, but I'm just saying. But at some point, my point is we got to stop. We have to stop. That brings us to the next thing, breaking up with bad habits. Look, you can't get out of debt if you don't change your mind. Y'all know that. You can't keep spending and think you're going to do something. And then you can't look at somebody like Andrew or Bobby or Henry, somebody that got their stuff together, can go get whatever they want. You forget it took them 30 and 40 years to build up to that. You just see it and you 18 and you want to be like that. Well, work for 30 years because that's what he did. You see what I'm saying? We just want it. No, they made decisions. They made decisions. Yeah, they made decisions. And broke folk talk about folk who have stuff and call you tight. It's funny you asking me for money. And the reason you don't have none because you too loose. Maybe you need to be tight. Andrew, don't they? Man, they Tommy and them talk about you. Look, Henry talking about you now. But if Andrew and Jeanette needed something, they can go wherever they want and get it. You call him whatever you want to call him. I call it smart. That's what I call it. Yeah, yeah. Andrew, you keep holding that penny. Henry say, you can pinch a penny and make Lincoln holler. You keep pinching it. That's smart, Andrew. That's a good steward. Amen. Ain't nobody calling you talking about they're coming to get your house either, are they? No, they ain't. They ain't calling you telling you they're coming to get the car either, huh? No, they ain't. You keep doing what you're doing. Don't pay no attention to Tommy and Henry. Hey, Andrew, he's been hard, but he got his money crooked anyway, Andrew. Ain't no telling what Henry, ain't no telling how many people he done killed and been harmed. I'm messing with you, Henry. Henry, my boy. Henry worked all his life too. That's why he got what he got. Okay. You got to break up with bad habits. God offers each of us a great life, but we must renew our minds and learn to think on purpose. Learn to think on purpose. Don't have folk think for you. You think on purpose. If we want to experience all he has planned for us. Perhaps one of the areas we need to be the most deliberate and purposeful is about this area of habits. Y'all know what a habit is. You do that repeatedly without thinking, without nothing. It's just a habit. You don't think about it. It's a habit. It's a habit. It's a habit. Most of you came in and sit where you sit all the time. It's a habit. Nothing wrong with it. I mean, you could have sat over there or here, anywhere. It's just a habit. Now, some habits can be good. Some habit can be bad. It's just dependent on the habit. If you got a habit to exercise, if you got a habit to eat right, obviously those would be good. But if you got a habit to do something that's detrimental to you, obviously that's not good. Okay? They say, what is it? They say if you do something to break a habit, what is it? 18 days or 21 days or something like that? Or something. 20, what is it? 21, okay, yeah. If you, to break something or change something or whatever it is that you've got to break only we can break these things. Only we can break the habit. Now, it looks like we're doing, the people, the habits, because again, we're doing a lot of talking, but this time, obviously, a lot of people came out, a lot of people voted, a lot of people broke a habit. They actually came out and did some things. But that's the only way we're going to win is to break the habits of this indifference and not caring. We have to do that because they're depending on us. I saw what was it on the news yesterday? Even the farmers, because they're talking about, and y'all can help me. They're talking about stopping the food stamps for something, or you got to prove and do all this stuff, and they thinking, obviously they just thinking us. They ain't looking at them white, because I don't know too many black farmers. I know we got some black farmers, but they ain't whole over. They're not even thinking about a whole different population. They thinking about cutting up people off that they don't look like them. But they don't recognize they hurting. It's more of them. They just don't see them. Or act like they don't see them because they see them. But I'm saying, I forget what the thing was, but they're talking about passing something to cut the food stamp things, and the farmers are coming out like, hey, wait a minute, y'all can't, we dependent on this stuff? And they didn't expect that group to come out. They thought me and Coleman would run in there with, 6 or 7 little shorties and tell them we need something. No, they didn't expect people to come in there that could be their relatives. But so we have to be careful. We got to be cognizant. We got to be aware. You don't have to be a politician, but you need to pay attention to politics, because if you don't, they continue to pass legislation, and we wake up and everything gone, and we don't even know what happened. Because I don't want to fool with that. I don't want to leave them listening to that stuff. I don't want to do all that stuff. All politics is local. All of it starts local. The city commission, the board, or whatever is local. And if ain't none of us, if you ain't going, or we ain't going to the meetings and all that stuff, man, these people do what they want to do. Because ain't no resistance. School board, coming up with all this crazy stuff. Like, no, we ain't doing that. But that's how we break habits, and that's how we pay attention and gird up our minds. And we need to keep that. And that mind needs to help in every aspect of society. We don't need, I was in, Andrew and a couple of guys went with me last week, Devon and some others, to Saginaw, had to preach in the convention, and we were in the pastor's class. We was talking about social justice in the black church, and talking about, the things that we do and should do, and the black church has always obviously been, with the civil rights, all that stuff came out of the churches and all this kind of stuff. But see, back then, we wasn't in everybody's pocket. Now folk done paid us off. So if I give you, church, some money to get some pews or something, you can't come against my policy because I didn't give you some money. You see what I'm saying? Now I'm bought. You couldn't buy King and those guys back there. Andrew, you couldn't buy them. Because now you can't say nothing. Because you done took the blood money. But the thing about the social justice thing, the gospel itself, if we preach the gospel, it's in there. I mean, think about what Jesus said. I've come to set the captives free. I mean, that's what he said. I come to heal the blind people. I come to help the poor. That's in the gospel. So you don't have to call it social gospel. If we simply would do what Jesus did, we'd have it. But we trying to do, I don't know what we're trying to do. I mean, he's the one that said, feed the poor. Do all this kind of stuff. He said that. They had the law back then even. The year of Jubilee, all the slaves went free. And if he wanted to remain a slave, you just go tell him I want to, be a slave to the devil, and they would pierce my ear. They would take me to the door and put a piece of wood and slam the door in Exodus, and that would prove that I'm a bondservant, which means I'm serving out of love because he let me go. Well, the year of Jubilee. So even God back then had stuff where people wouldn't get poor. And then when the leaves and when the fruit and stuff was falling, he said, well, now when they come pick it up, don't you bother them, don't you charge them. You got that much, you don't need that. Let them glean as much as they want. That's in the Bible. And then these so-called evangelicals today promote and programs that enslave and oppress people, and got the nerve to tell me you a Christian. You a what? Christians don't do this. You don't enslave people and tell them about our God is my. No, God ain't. But that's easy to say. But the proof is in the pudding. Because you can't oppress people, you can't manipulate people, enslave people, and then run up there talking about the God of our fathers. Boy, the God of our fathers ain't done that. So we have to, what did sermon, stay woke? Stay awake. And it's going to start with us, because if we don't change our minds, the society will change it for you. And then we'll be blaming people, other people, for problems that we could have alleviated if we would have girded up our minds. We can't just be religious from 11 to 1 and then don't care about bad education and schools and all that stuff Monday through Saturday, and then come back in here and shout on Monday. I mean, not on Monday, on Sunday. All you got to do is go to a school board meeting and say, we ain't accepting this. Got a $58 million. How much that addition cost at Battle Creek Central? $58 million? And the kids in there ain't got books? I asked the kid about homework. They said, we can't take the book home. We won't have enough. What do you mean you don't have enough books? You put on a $58 million addition? Look, every kid ain't got a computer. They don't. So what they going to do? Well, they do their homework online. On what line? Everybody don't have what you think they have. So now what does this kid do? Because he don't have the stuff. You don't have a textbook? I mean, and you spent $58 million? And then, Andrew, we was down there. They didn't put a sound system in. Then they contracted somebody from Illinois. It was $300,000. Like, you can't tell me somebody getting. So y'all just forgot you needed sound. And the Kellogg just gave him what, 55, how much money? 50 million, and you can't get a book? So where the money going? I mean, there should be some board, somebody like you need to, transparency. I mean, somebody like you. I mean, I ain't saying you got to be at every meeting with a pencil, but somebody need to know something like, okay, well, who's the group that's in charge to monitor the money and see what you're doing with the money? Who's that group? Because if it's y'all can tell us anything. No, I don't know who it is. That's what I'm saying, sister. It could be the school board. But then if you went to the meeting, obviously, you could ask a question. Like, because everybody needs checks and balances. Because if not, you get way off crazy. That's what happened in the National Baptist Convention years ago with Dr. Lyons. He had the checkbook, which was the stupidest thing in the world. He said he felt like a kid in a candy store, and he was, because he had the checkbook. I don't sign no checks here. My name ain't on no check. I ain't going to jail or prison. You protect yourself from that. Like, no, I ain't signed nothing. That's not what I do. So everybody needs checks and balances. Because if you don't have none, yeah, that 55 sounds good, but if we don't know where it's going, and it ain't helping who it needs to help, if the kid can't bring a textbook home, so we just have to pay attention and gird up our minds in every aspect of life. Because we always been good at shouting. But God didn't call, he didn't say I came to shout. He said I came to set the captives free. Right? I came to open the eyes of the blind, to heal the brokenhearted. He didn't come to shout. Now shouting is fine. I ain't got nothing against you shouting. Don't shout all day long. But after you shout, you're going to have to do something. That's the point I'm making. And if we don't gird up our minds, we'll just be a bunch of shouters, and people don't care about shouters. They just don't want you to vote. They just don't want you to show up at the meeting. We showed up one time, Andrew, and we're going to pray in Kalamazoo at a school board meeting. Dr. Hudson got the men together, and it wasn't even less, about 30 black men, about 30-ish. Went to the school board meeting, man, and they was turning, and we was just there for the meeting. Wasn't no cause or nothing. We just went, and they were scared to death. They kept asking, what are y'all here for? He said, nothing. It's a school board meeting. Yeah, but we never seen, what are you here for? He said, nothing. It scared them to death. You know why? People showed up. And we really didn't have no agenda, no nothing. We just said we'd go, and we, as the men, we went. They were on edge all night. They was turning color. They was sweating. Which got us to thinking, what are y'all so nervous about? We had no papers. Nobody spoke. And that, I think, freaked them out more. Because they kept wondering, what are you really here for? It's a school board meeting, right? Anybody can come. Yeah, but what you really here for? And when they stopped saying it, you can see it was still going through their eyes. And nobody wanted, and after that, we just left. So you want to freak somebody out? Just get a few of y'all together and show up. Now, you may have some causes, obviously, that you may need to speak on, but I'm saying stay informed, and you do that by girding up your minds. And that way, your kid, you, none of us are left behind. All right? Let's get in groups of 2. Let's gird up that mind. Pull up that stuff so you don't stumble. Because just like that individual got shot and killed, which obviously, like I said, we're not talking about that, but we don't want to stumble in other areas and have debt pound on us or have any of those other things pound on us. Father God, we thank you for another expression of your goodness. We thank you for giving us the mind of Christ. Father, you said you came to set the captives free, not to put them in captivity. You said you came to heal the brokenhearted, not cause the brokenheartedness. You said you came to give sight to the blind. And Father, if we are to walk in your footsteps, then we should be a part of the same mission. And that is to make this place better, not bitter. I pray that we would continue, dear Father, as obedient children, to keep our eyes focused on the prize. That we would run the race that has been set before us. That we would keep our eyes on the goal, on the prize. That vision for that family, that vision for that home, that vision for that child, that vision for that son, that daughter, that husband, that wife, that family. I pray that we would not run down rabbit holes and chase things, dear Father, that has no significance, while we allow individuals to do that which is significant around us, things that would entrap, enslave, and actually endanger us. I pray that we would have our minds renewed through your word so that we can continue, Father, to do a great work for you, so that we could continue to enhance, increase, make our neighborhoods better, make our neighborhoods safer, make our neighborhoods more educational. I thank you, Father, for all of your many blessings. May we live the compassion of Christ as we continue, Father, to move throughout the areas in which you have placed us. I pray that we would have that spirit that we can do all things through you that strengthen us, that we would not limit ourselves due to lack of education, a lack of resources, Father, but that we would partner with individuals. If we don't know, Father, there's plenty of people around us that can instruct us and give us instruction and direction. I thank you as we continue, dear Father, to win the battle of our minds. I thank you for on-purpose thinking, and we're going to set our minds and keep it set, and then we're going to gird up our minds, and we're going to break those bad habits that has led to our detriment in the past, but that will, by breaking habits, lead to new futures, new plans, new destinies as we seek you. We thank you for all of your many blessings. As we leave this place, give us traveling grace. In Jesus' name, amen.